Zach.
To Zach, yeah. Okay, my train of thought here. The hamster is off the wheels. We're cycling. Okay, we've been talking about changing into cycling. We know that if you wear like calf sleeves and an Aero helmet and all this stuff, you can gain, 5 to 10 watts, which add up over, depending upon your race, to potentially minutes of a faster finish time. Okay. Moto, we're averaging 30, 40 miles an hour for 30 minutes. Does it make sense to start developing more aero type stuff? Like we already have the Barsha type clothing that's super tight, but Fox came out with the
Onesie.
leotard, right? It looks ridiculous. But if you could have some scientific proof that it had the little golf ball bubbles and shit all over it, that, hey, in a 35-minute moto, you are 5 seconds faster. Well, if that is true and accurate, that could be the difference between sometimes somebody being off the podium and on the podium, right? So should we be focusing more on some aero tech with the rider?
No.
Okay, why?
Well, for me, it goes back to what Rob was talking about earlier. Like we're in such a weird space with motocross where you aren't really endurance, but you're kind of endurance. You're not really sprint, but you are sprint. Like it's all these things, right? And I think when you look at cycling, it's such an A to B thing. Like it's, especially in time trial specifically, right? It's from here to there. There's 0 variables. The road's the same. It's just how fast you can get there, how fast you can pedal, how little resistance you can have, right? But if I go to Redbud and I go on the track on the first lap compared to the last lap, I'm not going to be able to take that speed. So the only thing that extra speed would do for me is allow faster acceleration, but it doesn't matter if I can't take that speed into the next corner. Like the bumps get bigger, the track changes, all those variables make it nearly impossible to make those things measurable, especially compounded by you get a 10th place start and none of it matters, right? Like you're just fighting for your life. You're in suboptimal lines. You're, out in the mud, whatever. Like I've had this conversation with other people, and to me, I don't think that you put like a MotoGP style fairing on the bike or whatever. As soon as you get a bad start, it's all out the window, right? So,
but then that might help you cut through the pack. Like Zach, if let's just say like in a corner, you're doing 29 miles an hour in a corner, right? And if you had some of the added tech, whether it's the gay ass suit or whatever, you do 29.2, right? And then as the track gets rougher, normally you'd be going down to 27 miles an hour, but now you're still at 27.5. Like, I think it is a measurable thing.
But for me, like, I'm not going faster because I don't have the ability to. I'm only not going faster because that's all the track will allow, or that's all the ability I have, or whatever, like in MotoGP, the line is very, very fine, right? Because the track changes way less. The pavement is way more consistent. There's no bumps. Like all those things add up to where you can make the lap, as long as the tire is good, you can make the lap as repeatable as you want, right? But in motocross, it's just not as repeatable. And, if I can go 70 miles an hour or 30 miles an hour, I can't go 32 because the track won't hold it. The rut won't hold it. I don't see the benefit. I've thought about this so much, and I've come to this conclusion. So,
Coach, okay.
Uh-oh.
Because even like
ammo. He came
even
with
like
ammo.
this shit. Okay. You clean out dirty air. Like if you could change your wheels to something like this that just keeps your roll speed up, it makes it easier for the motorcycle to continue to go that speed. I just see that it would be a measurable difference, even if it's minute. Like Zach, you are a professional that you just got done talking about, like having all this little stuff add up during the week, which ends up being a 0.5% minute here and there. Like the motorcycle and your gear should be no different, because a 1% improvement in your ability could be the difference between top 10 to podium, right?
Yeah, I don't feel like the speed can be translated as much. On the bicycle, it makes total sense to me. It's like, the dots connect. But here, I don't, like I said, like the thing that stops me is the traction, the rut, the bump, like where the placement is, how much brake you need, how much trail brake you need, how little trail throttle you need. Like all those things are what stops me from being faster. It's not like I'm just, full tuck looking for speed. It's a little bit of a different scenario. Maybe. I mean, I don't know.
Okay, Coach, you've been very quiet and polite during all this. Am I just off the rocker here? Should we just leave this with one of Hopper's hypotheticals and then move on?
No, both have credibility. The wheel that you showed, that's a deep dish wheel for those who don't know cycling. The greatest amount of rolling resistance is the first 3 inches off the ground. So that's why you see the deep dish wheel right there. That's just a physiological, that's just a law of physics that applies. That's why deep dish came out. The greatest amount of rolling resistance is the first 3 inches. Well, with a motocross tire, you've already bridged that gap because the tire is so big. So you're not going to get any aerodynamic benefits out of an increased wheel rim depth. No, that's okay. Yeah.
Using the science to just, yeah.
Well, when it comes to like the outfit itself, sure, you could always maybe save 0.001 on the fact that the uniform, I hate to use that word, let's call the race kit, jersey and pants, are a little bit tighter fitting, and maybe it's got materials that wicks away wind for aerodynamics. But you're talking 0.001 benefit versus Zach increasing his athlete's quadricep to hamstring flexibility. So the listeners, they come into a right-hand corner and they keep dabbing their foot. Is that because the quadriceps and the hip flexors are weak and that therefore he keeps dabbing his foot? Or is the hamstring flexibility, their hamstrings are so tight it keeps pulling the foot back down and therefore they're dabbing their foot? The jersey that they're wearing that's saving 0.0001 versus working on strength and flexibility is going to have a much bigger return on investment, because like Zach said, if you don't get the whole shot, you take the non-optimum lines, you're already working much harder just to try to bridge the gap that you've blown on the start. So at that point, strength, flexibility, hydration, calories, line choice, efficiency is going to far weigh out that 0.001 that we could ever get from a more aerodynamic kit.
But doesn't that add up?
No.
Wouldn't it add up?
No. Yeah. Because the problem is, okay, and I say this very politely, people will ask me, hey, Rob, can you break down my macros for my nutrition? And I'm like, you won't even step on the damn scale twice a day. Your morning weight shows me inflammation and swelling. Your evening weight shows me hydration levels. And you want me to break down macros and you won't step on the scale twice a day? Why don't we start where we can get the biggest ROI? Step on the stupid scale twice a day for me.
Coach, that's what I'm talking about. ROI.
But here's the problem.
From a marketing standpoint, so what if it's 0.0001? People don't want to put in the effort. They'd rather go spend.
I will bet you there's not one listener in the chat room that's willing to wear a onesie. They look gayer than gay.
Hey, Johnny, here's the deal, dude. If you just put a street bike helmet, full face, visor, the full deal on, you'll be faster next time you go out.
I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that.
And when you put your chin on the crossbar pad and you're tucked going down the straightaways,
go over the jump like this with your full face helmet on.
Yeah, and don't let your visor go too high because you can get too much aerodynamic drag as you come over your seat.
All right, fuck you guys. I'm gonna do it.
You know what?
Show you how much faster I am.
So Johnny's next bike, he's got a chin tuck on his tank, so he can tuck his head under the tank as he goes over the jumps to make sure he's aerodynamic.
If your next riding video on Instagram has a visor, I'm gonna be highly disappointed.